In this video, we're going to look at interest, and specifically compound interest. Interest is the sum of money that you pay for borrowing, or the sum of money that is paid to you for investing. And there are a few terms that we need to know here before we go along, so that we can make sense of any formula that we use in this section. P will stand for the principal. That's the sum of money that is borrowed or invested at the beginning of the period. T is going to stand for the time. That's the number of weeks or months or years for which the sum of money is borrowed or invested. I will stand for the interest rate. It'll be given as a percentage in most questions, but for any of our calculations, it'll be easier for us to do it use a fraction or a decimal. A is going to stand for the amount. That's going to be the amount of money, including the interest, that's at the end of a given week or month or year. And F is going to stand for the final amount. It's the final sum of money, including interest, at the end of the given period. And there are two methods for calculating out compound interest that we're going to look at here. You can first of all calculate the interest from the first year and add this to the principal to form the new principal for the next year. Then you calculate the interest rate for 1 year on this new principal and add it on to form the principal for the next year, and so on. The easiest way to calculate each stage is to multiply the principal at the beginning of each year by the factor 1 plus I. That's 1 plus I, where I is the interest rate as a decimal or fraction. This will give the principal for the next year, and so on. Or the other method is where we use this formula here. This is a compound method formula. It's F equals P multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of T. We've already talked above what all those letters stand for. And that was probably a bit confusing, so what we're going to do now is the exact same question, first using method 1 and then using method 2, so we can see exactly how these work out. Our question is this one here. So we have 10,000 euro is going to be invested for 3 years at 3% per annum. And we're going to calculate all this out. So our principal amount, our P1, is going to be equal to 10,000 euro. And our A1, which is our amount at the end of this period, is going to be 10,000 multiplied by 1.03, because that is how we will add on 3% of 10,000 to it. When we do that sum out, we get 10,300, like that. And that 10,300 is our A1, but now becomes our P2, our principal at the start of the next year. So 10,300, like that. And now this is going to be multiplied to get our A2 by 1.03. So we're going to have 10,300 multiplied by 1.03. And that's going to give us 10,609. 10,609. And that now is then going to become our P3. So 10,609. And to calculate our A3, which is our amount at the end of the third year, we're going to multiply 10,609 by 1.03, and that's going to give us 10,927.27 cents, like that. So using method 1, we have got our P1, which is at the start, the amount at the start of our first year, our A1, which is the amount at the end of our first year, which we've calculated out. The amount at the end of our first year becomes the amount at the start of our second year, our P2. In order to calculate A2, which is the amount at the end of our second year, we multiplied it by 1.03, our P2 by that, and got 10,609. This A2 becomes our P3, our amount at the start of year 3. And in order to get our amount at the end of year 3, which is A3, we once again multiply our principal amount by our interest. So this 10,927 now becomes our F, our final amount. So 10,927.27 is our final amount for this. Now we're going to do the same sum again, but this time using the compound interest formula. So using this formula, our F, which is our final amount, is going to be equal to P, which is our principal, and our principal in this case is 10,000. And I'm going to multiply that by 1 plus I. Now I is our interest rate expressed as a decimal. So 1 plus that is going to be 1.03, and that's going to be raised to the power of t. And t is our number of either weeks, months, or years that this is being invested for. In this case it's years, but it's 3 this time. And if we stick that into a calculator, what we will get out is 10,927.27 the exact same amount that we got on our previous calculations, but this time done in a far more direct manner. And that is that.